wrestling fans, in 2005, what did WWE bring to us? A classic rivalry, one that we still talk about to this day, that really helped put Randy Orton on the map, in which he went toe-to-toe, head-to-head with the phenom of the WWE, The Undertaker. In 2005, we saw Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio fighting for custody over Dominic, Rey Mysterio's son. We saw Batista versus JBL, John Cena versus Chris Jericho, and the immortal Hulk Hogan made his return to the WWE as he took on the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Legend versus icon. Icon versus legend. Who would win this epic confrontation? The two legends in the center of the ring. The two guys that was still undefeated at SummerSlam. Who would win? We would find out at this event. Hulk Hogan, fresh off being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005. Shawn Michaels begging and pleading for a tag team partner to face Muhammad Hassan and Daivari. That being Hulk Hogan, who answered the call. We got that. It was an okay match. Led to some other tag team matchups. Led to the build towards SummerSlam with one sweet chin music kick to Shawn Michaels to Hulk Hogan. And we were off to the races. But we're going to go over that plus everything else right here on the podcast today. First off, if this is your first time into this channel, thank you for tuning in, and hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for all notifications. Much appreciated if you do. And of course, follow me on Facebook and Twitter at 2007Webby. A lot of hard work and fun goes into this channel for you wrestling fans. Raw and SmackDown live reviews, vlogs from time to time here on the channel, amongst other things. You'll see preview and predictions of SummerSlam next week. You'll see my Raw and SmackDown live review of SummerSlam. Go home show next week. A lot of things next week. Plus some more SummerSlam old school classic reviews. A lot of good stuff for you coming your way in the upcoming weeks of this channel. But SummerSlam 2005. To open up the show, we had Orlando Jordan versus Chris Benoit. This match, if you blinked, you missed it. If you blinked, you missed it. It was one of those matches kind of that reminded me of WrestleMania 28 when Sheamus beat Daniel Bryan in 18 seconds to become the world heavyweight champion. Well, Orlando Jordan almost instantly tapped out to Chris Benoit and dropped the United States Championship. Some might say Orlando Jordan got buried here. Yes, no. I personally would have liked to see more of a back and forth good contest between these two superstars. But WWE and how they think and in their world, it's like, you want to see something special? You want to see something unpredictable? Look what we do on pay-per-view. Order the pay-per-view. That's what this is telling me. So that's how they started the show off. Second match on the card was Edge versus Matt Hardy. A match that I really think was stopped a little bit too soon. It stopped short because of blood. At one point, Matt Hardy was pounding away, on Edge, whipped him into the turnbuckle, was on the middle rope, and next thing we know, he hits the post. And Matt Hardy goes to the outside. Next thing we know, when he gets back in, he is bloody. He is a crimson mask. Referee calls for the bell. Now, the backstory to this match is the most intriguing, best thing leading up to SummerSlam with the contest. Edge, Lita, Matt Hardy with Lita first, and then, them playing up the Edge and Lita story that was taking place when Matt Hardy was gone, and then when Matt Hardy came back, him wanting to get revenge on Edge because he had been with Lita and everything, which made for good TV. Edge and Lita being partners gave another layer to Edge's character. And as far as Matt Hardy is concerned, when he came back to the WWE, that gave a great first rivalry for him and a good boost in that summer and fall months. Eddie Guerrero, the Steel, versus Rey Mysterio in a ladder matchup for Dominic's custody papers. Now, if there was just any other superstars, if this was anybody else in this match with Rey Mysterio, I probably wouldn't have bought into it as much as I did, or wouldn't have been as accepting of it as I am. But since it's Eddie, a little more accepting of it. Since how Eddie and Rey Mysterio, best friends, they always talked about that. When Eddie was alive. And even after Eddie passed away, Rey Mysterio always talked about, family and that kind of stuff with Eddie Guerrero. So, really made for a good, intriguing storyline between these two all the way through 2005. Because all the way through 2005, Eddie Guerrero could not defeat Rey Mysterio 7 times. Even after this matchup, he could not defeat Rey Mysterio. He did eventually. It only made sense that he didn't during this contest. But Eddie versus Rey, good contest. Vicky Guerrero, excuse me, helps Rey Mysterio win by grabbing Eddie Guerrero and holding him down where he can't climb up the ladder. at the end of this contest. Eugene versus Kurt Angle. What can you say about this matchup? Not a whole lot, honestly, because Eugene went out there and did exactly what he always did, and that's do everybody that's Big's finishing moves, like the people's elbow, rock bottom, pedigree, and all that kind of good stuff. He did the ankle lock to Kurt Angle and all that stuff. And then Kurt Angle did some clotheslines, did an ankle lock, and tapped him out. Beat him up. But, yeah, it was nothing. Okay. The Undertaker. The 14th matchup in a row at SummerSlam. Took on Randy Orton. A rivalry that elevated Randy Orton. In this match, it was okay. It was an okay matchup. You know, wasn't the best out of their entire rivalry, but this was an okay matchup. I do think that if Randy Orton would have gotten a 1-2-3 victory over The Undertaker in this match without Cowboy Bob Orton's help, it would have elevated him a little bit. I do understand why he did not, though, to protect The Undertaker at SummerSlam and to add an extra layer to the rivalry with Cowboy Bob Orton's involvement, and which led up to the 2-on-1 handicap casket matchup, amongst other things, leading up to before the Survivor Series of that year. Next, Chris Jericho versus John Cena. Something that took place before, really, as far as the build leading into the draft. The first person of the draft was John Cena, the WWE champion. And from there, it went downhill for him because Eric Bischoff wanted to get that title off of him with a vengeance. He was going to do everything in his power to get the title off of him. And Chris Jericho was the guy to do it at SummerSlam. Not successful. Knew it wasn't going to be successful. I mean, John Cena just got the title at WrestleMania 21. That's one reason. Another reason, look, John Cena's on the up and up. John Cena's carrying the company at the moment. He ain't losing the title. Not one bit. But good contest between these two, as always. John Cena victorious at SummerSlam. JBL versus Batista. World title. No holds barred. Okay. Once again, just like the WWE Championship, over on SmackDown, Batista was on the up and up. Just got traded to SmackDown. Just won the world title at WrestleMania. Going to carry the banner at SmackDown for a while. JBL's just there for one of the big first rivalries of Batista's. SmackDown's coming. He's not beating Batista. He wasn't going to do that. Batista was exactly what the big marquee name for him said he was. The animal has been unleashed. That was Batista. And that's exactly what happened at SummerSlam as he retained the title. And finally, Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan for Who was the biggest icon, the biggest legend, the biggest, absolute, most fantastic superstar, it seemed like, of history? That's how it seemed like they were advertising this. And WWE made it clear at the very beginning who they wanted you to cheer for. And that was Hulk Hogan. Because as soon as Shawn Michaels came out and he got done doing this, they showed a sign of HBK sucks. So clearly, painting Shawn Michaels as the bad guy. Regardless of what WWE did, though, that crowd was split 50-50 right down the middle of who they wanted to win. If you're an old school fan of the WWE, and when I say old school, I mean like early 90s, 90, going back into the 80s, and you go and you watch WrestleMania 6, and you see 50-50 split in half of Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. That's what this was, only on a smaller scale because of where they were at and because of the event it was. But clearly 50-50. And they did some things that I don't think was necessary in this match, like Hulk Hogan bleeding. Hulk Hogan bleeding, I don't think was needed. I get why they did it, to add an extra layer to the matchup, to make it where Hulk Hogan had to overcome more stuff before he hulked up and just bam. Punches, big boot, 1, 2, 3. Now, blood, a chair shot, punches to the face, elbow, sweet chin music, kick, all of that. That is a little much when you look at all that plus everything else that happened in the matchup. But am I going to take the little bit of blood, the blood that they gave, even though it was a lot? And when you look at how much blood that was in that matchup compared to how much blood was that excuse me, was in Matt Hardy and Edge, Hulk Hogan's and Shawn Michaels matchup probably should have been canceled. It's called off. But it was the main event, and of course who was in the matchup as well. So that's why. But it made for a different dynamic. And honestly, if I would look back at the matchup and how it all played out, Shawn Michaels should have won. Honestly. Now, I'm not going to sit here and rant and roam and complain and moan and groan and all this different kinds of jazz because he didn't. Like some people would. But looking back at it and what Shawn Michaels did going forward with the company, he should have won. But this was only a one-time match. And We didn't get Hogan 2 versus Michaels 3 or anything like that. So Hulk Hogan gets his victory. Everybody that's a Hulkamaniac goes home happy. And we move on after the pay-per-view without any other build between these two. We never hear from it again, except just the memory of the match and what took place. The only thing about this match that we really should point out is that since there was no other stuff coming after it between these two superstars, it was just there for us to enjoy. And that was it. But you can either like that Hulk Hogan won, or you can disagree with it and think that Shawn Michaels should have been the victor. Whatever the case, that match was simply there for us to enjoy. It just added some things that I don't think should have been there to enhance his victory. But y'all let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. And don't forget to do everything I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, leave that thumbs up. Show some love and support to this channel. And until I see you again, this is Webby, and I'll catch you on the other side. Talk to you later.